Hello and welcome to a new session, entirely a new chapter, the chemistry of complexes, the chemistry of transition metals, the chemistry of inorganic complexes, the world of beautiful compounds, and we are providing a theoretical basis to such complexes. Let's begin with the idea of splitting of d orbitals in an octahedral environment. This is our very first video on the subject. Later on, we'll be proceeding towards the formation of correlation diagram that would determine the splitting of d orbitals in an extremely large and a weak field or internal field. So again, I'm your instructor, Saurabh Muktibud, and just let us begin to work it out. So splitting of d orbitals in an octahedral environment. Well, when we are talking about this subject, we must begin with a proper character table for the same. And for an octahedral environment, nothing works better than octahedral OH point group. Because we understand that d orbitals are even to inversion, that is the center of symmetry. The characters of reducible representations can be obtained by using pure rotational subgroups O and then adding the subscript G to each of them. So we did not take care of the entire OH point group because it is going to be a very lengthy and a tedious job. Instead, we're talking about the subgroup which characteristically have the rotational parts. In general, an orbital, if it is represented by the Schrodinger type of wave function, the psi that has the radial wave function and theta and phi, so the function r, that is the radial function, is invariant to all operations in a point group. So it is not to be considered. The function theta is also invariant if rotation is carried out about the z-axis with respect to which the angle theta is measured. Since the angle theta also remains constant during the rotation, we did not consider this as well. Now we are left with the third parameter, that is the phi. The function phi varies since the angle phi is varied during the rotation about the z-axis. So out of these three wave functions, because the two wave functions are constant, we will focus our idea on only the phi, that is the angle phi that varies during the rotation along the z-axis for d orbitals for which we are assuming to be a basis. Hence, the function phi needs only to be considered to determine the characters of reducible representation of the point group O, and leaving aside the normalization constant, the function phi would be given by e to the power im phi that we understand from our basic knowledge of quantum mechanics. Well, when we are talking about e to the power im phi and we know that for d orbitals the values of m starts +2 to -2, that is +2, +1, 0, -1 and -2. We would have something like this, and in the matrix rotation we will have e to the power 2i, phi plus alpha and so on when a particular orbital is rotated by an angle alpha. And if it is so, the entire matrix representation could be splitted into the form that has been demonstrated here. So 2i phi plus alpha, I phi plus alpha, e to the power 0, e to the power minus phi plus alpha, e to the power minus 2i phi plus alpha. That represents all the values of magnetic quantum number that split from -2 to +2. So if you just go for rotation by an alpha degree, you want to split this into an entire function. You'll see that it is a basic function. There's 2i alpha, I alpha, 0 and so on. And here is 2i phi and etc. So this very matrix can be decomposed or can be seen in this form, and we therefore are interested in calculating the characters of this matrix, which is nothing but the diagonal sum of all the diagonal elements. In doing so, we'll find that the characters are like e to the power 2i alpha plus e to the power I alpha plus e to the power 0 plus e to the power minus I alpha plus e to the power minus 2i alpha, if we are assuming the character for a rotation by an alpha degree. And eventually, if you solve this mathematical twist, then because it forms in geometric progression, the solution would be given by sine 2 plus half alpha divided by sine alpha, where alpha must be a non-zero quantity. Remember that above series is actually a geometric progression. It can very easily worked out, but we are not interested in giving the solution of the same here. Let's assume that this is the solution, and in fact, there would be a general solution as well. Well, that was the case of only 5d orbitals, but in general, if you talk about a general value of L, for example, if L is 0 for S orbital, if it's 1 for P orbital, it's 2 for D, 3 for F, and so on, what we'll have is a general matrix of this type that has been displayed here. You have e to the power Li alpha, e to the power L minus 1 I alpha, it will go on like that, e to the power L minus 2, then it will go minus L minus 1 I alpha, and ultimately it will go to e to the power minus L I alpha. So again, as we have seen that in earlier case, that it forms geometric progression, and therefore I am not coming into the mathematical details of this, though it's not quite difficult to derive it. But the answer is, if the character of that particular operation for an alpha degree of rotation, that gives you sine L plus half alpha divided by sine alpha by 2. This is a general expression. And once if you do it, what we have to do is, for various symmetry operations like C2 for 180 degree rotation, you will have the value falling to 1. Similarly, character for C3, that is minus sine pi by 3 divided by plus sine pi by 3, that comes out to be minus 1. And chi C4 is equal to sine 5 pi by 4 divided by sine pi by 4, that ultimately leads to minus sine pi by 4, and ultimately the result is minus 1. So this is the way we can collect the characters for a representation for an O subgroup of OH symmetry point group, and these are the values. So when you do it, what will I have is something like this. Use the standard reduction formula, and once just keep this into your mind, you will have various values. For instance, A1 equal to 1 by 24, 5, 1, 1 is 5. This is minus 1, 1 and 8 is the second element, 1, 1 and 3, that is the third element, minus 1, 1 and 6, that is the fourth element, and 1, 1, 6 is equal to the fifth element. So when you do some algebraic manipulations, then the total comes out to be 0. It means that A1 contributes nothing as far as the reducible representation is concerned. If you move for the other terms, A2, you can calculate, as you can see from the character table also, comes out to be 0. Yes. And let's talk about E. So in case of E, it happens to be 1. So in the reducible representation, E has come once. What about T1? We'll see that T1 is also contributing nothing. So the net result is 0. And what about T2? The net contribution would be something like 1. Yes, it is 1. So all the calculations are, in the directions to give the idea that tau reducible is equal to E plus T2. So E has come once, T2 has also come once. So there are 5 orbitals, you have 2 and a 3-dimensional set of representations are obvious. And because we understand that d orbitals are even to inversion, we are able to add a subscript G also. So the final solution that we have is tau reducible is equal to Eg plus T2G. And this is, famous formulation of crystal field theory, in which it is demonstrated that 5d orbitals actually split into 2 set of orbitals, a doubly degenerate Eg and a triply degenerate T2G set of orbitals. Because the Eg set of orbitals are of higher energy, as because their lobes are lying along the axis, they are supposedly feel more repulsion and they are raised by higher energy, whereas T, that is triply degenerate Txy, Tyz, Txz are non-axial kind of d orbitals. Therefore, they are relatively lowered in energy. So the structure in our Perseus is something like this. You have a set of d orbitals. There are 5 d orbitals, and then they are splitted into the form of the T2G and Eg, that it is lowered by minus 4 dq. It is stabilized by 4 dq and destabilized by 6 dq. So Eg set of orbitals are the axial orbitals, and T2G sets of orbitals are non-axial orbitals, as a matter of fact. So this is all for splitting of d orbitals in an octahedral environment. In coming session, we'll be talking about more interesting things. For example, we'll be talking about the term symbols for a D2 situation, and then we'll be talking about the splitting of D2 situation in a strong, very strong, and a very weak field, so that we can ultimately construct a correlation diagram, that is the Tanabe-Sugano diagram. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Thanks again.